So back to school here today with C330S. Why should people look at this as an alternative to the Rolleiflex cameras? First of all, it is larger and it's quite heavy. It's around 1.7 kilograms with the lens and everything. So, it is a little bit of a workout. Not that bad though. The Rolleiflex though, even though it has the German precision, it's got that famous Carl Zeiss planar lens. Why do people buy the Mamiya? The Mamiya is cheaper, doesn't mean it's worse, as with most cameras. The more you pay doesn't mean the more you get. Fuji 160S versus Kodak Portra 160. We're only having one Mamiya, but we'll have battle of Kodak portrait films versus the Fuji portrait films. These are kind of soft, not really contrasty films. They're going to be pretty good.
The C330 is one of the easiest medium format cameras to load. It's almost as simple as the Mamiya 6, but much faster to load than the RZ67. Unfortunately, it was amateur hour at AnalogRev as I only brought 160 and 50 speed film, which forced me to shoot at 1/60th of a second. I thought I'd get away with it on my 80mm, but as you see, a lot of the images were underexposed and blurred.
Alright, so then the Mamiya C330 can be used for a lot of things. It's got this awesome kind of bellow, which makes it great for macro work and also close-up portraits. Since we're using color negative again, we have great dynamic range, so even though Catherine's wearing a white skirt and the sun's reflecting on it, we should get some detail in the highlights. So today what I have is the 80mm 2.8. I knew we were going to be shooting portraits, but also besides that fact, this is the only lens I have for it. This one is going to be roughly around a standard 50, but it's fast, so the bokeh should be beautiful. Mamiya lenses aren't, they're not like as famous as Carl Zeiss lenses, for example, but they are beautiful, as we saw in the previous video with the Mamiya RZ67, and also I've been using Mamiyas for a decade. Camera is not exactly weather sealed.
I think we should hide.
We should hide? Okay. Should we go to the trees? So first step you do is we remove this from the bottom and you match it up, throw it into the top. All medium format cameras are roughly the same after a while. Here, we lock it in, slip into this little hole here. It's like a little mini factory. It's really nice. So it's not too automatic, but it's just like, it still has that manual feel that you want, which is why we shoot these cameras. Yeah, so, okay, even though I'm kind of a weird guy, rain's my favorite weather, besides snow. It's good for me. I don't really want that much contrast. I was worried about that when I came out this morning. My camera's not waterproof, but then more clouds is a natural diffuser. What do you normally do when it rains?
Whatever.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Oh shit, I just shot a picture. There's 3 ways to fire the shutter. Right here, and then this thing kind of goes down as well. And also down here, this also brings it down. So I just accidentally cleaned that up. Twin lens reflex cameras have 2 lenses. One is for viewing, and one is for shooting. So this one you see has the aperture blades inside. It's a bit dark, not sure if you can see it. Then this one's always clear. So even when you're shooting, you always get a nice view of what's happening. When you get really close, we have this problem called parallax, which we talked about with rangefinders like the G2. It's when what you see isn't exactly what you get. So then, to correct that, this, even though this camera can't detect which lens you're using, you can actually select it yourself. You can select it here, move it down to 65mm or something. Okay, here's 80. Here's back to 80. Okay. So here we got a ton of little knobs. What do they all do? This is the focusing one, right? We got the focusing right here. This one is the one you push it in, the back comes out, and also you pull it out to load the film spools. Here we got also this little red dot here. This tiny little red dot. You can move into 55, the 60, the 80, the 250, the 180, and the 135, and the 105. Those are all the different lenses for the Mamiya C series, and those are all for the parallax correction. Okay. Okay. So as mentioned before, this is an interchangeable TLR. It's one of the main features of this thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this over, this knob, to unlock. The whole camera just loosens up, you can just hear it. And then you push down upon this thing, and then it snaps up, and it just comes out here. It's so random. And then this is the lens. Here, you see, we noticed before that I accidentally fired the shutter. The shutter is inside the lens. It's a leaf shutter, just like many other medium format cameras, which means that it can do flash sync at any of the shutter speeds. So it can go from 1 to 500, it can still do flash, which is fantastic. And it's, as I've said several times before, this is one of the advantages of medium format. Leaf shutters, each single time, it's right here.
Now to the disadvantages of medium format cameras. While generally Mamiya cameras are quite reliable, the parts and pieces of each machine can get quite expensive if they need repair. The last time this particular one had been used was over a year ago, and since then it's lived in closets, under blankets, under bridges, and even some nights out in the cold streets. As a result, it's become rather weathered.
So right now I'm like 5 inches away from your camera, and I can still get everything in focus. So, I mean, this thing is basically a macro. I mean, I'm as close as it gets. Although the problem is, I'm looking through here, it's shooting through here, and that's where that parallax control kind of comes into play. So in terms of focusing, it's very bright. The glass is great. This has replaceable ground glass, but it's really great. It's really bright. And the focusing is like a rangefinder in terms of split image. So if you want to focus something, there's a split image right in the middle, and it's really quick, really fast.
Well, about focusing, after getting the images back, my lab technician told me a bunch of the images were out of focus. I probably definitely need to get the bellows recalibrated somehow, unless I've suddenly become blind since the last episode. But for some reason, every single photo of Warren was razor sharp. You can see everything.
Yeah, so I think in terms of street photography, TLRs, the Rolleiflex or the Yashica Mat are probably still the best because of their size. If they have, I'm not sure they have meters, I gotta check on that. If they have meters, it'd be even better. This one has no meter, like I said before, but you can kind of use Sunny 16. You can't really screw up the exposure that badly with matte black and white or a C41 film. You just can't really mess it up.
We decided to include all these out-of-focus shots because even though they won't show off the supreme sharpness of the Sekiro lenses, you can at least see the dreamy bokeh patterns of the 80mm. I haven't had much experience with other lenses, but you have nothing to fear with any Mamiya glass.
For all the budget photographers who want to have TLRs, you don't exactly have to go that luxury route of getting just the best, you know? You don't have to go for the Rolleiflex. Mamiya does everything. They've done, portrait medium format cameras, they've done rangefinders, they've done TLRs, and they do everything well. They do everything functional, everything beautiful, everything has class, style, elegance. For TLR, if you're getting into medium format, you don't have to go the expensive Hasselblad route. You don't have to do that. You can start from the middle, Mamiya, and work your way up with more familiarity. Because once you get into 120, all the cameras are beautiful cameras. They're all great. They all make. It's the fact that you're using a bigger negative. And if you've been shooting digital, or you're shooting 35mm film, or anything, going to medium format is a step where you just really can't go back in the same way.
So is it worth the purchase? It's a yes for me if you can guarantee the condition. This is sadly not the first time I've had an issue with my Mamiya cameras, even though I cannot say a single bad thing about the quality and soul from the images. In a way, this is typical for Mamiyas. These beat-up workhorses can take an enormous amount of punishment and still manage to keep churning. And while they don't have the exterior beauty of their German ancestors, the results speak for themselves. Photographs from the C330, even when out of focus, are full of warmth and heart.
of the 3 medium format cameras we did so far, if your style is more kind of like up and about with your friends around town or in the city, and you want to, you know, don't want to buy a lot of lenses, you just want one lens, well, this one can change, but you kind of just want to keep it simple and you want to walk around and do your thing, then
幾多錢啊部？
唔係好知啊，呢個
幾多錢啊部？
我唔係好知啊，
古董嚟喎。
係啊係啊，我諗係都冇貴3000蚊啦，我諗。
我會有睇啊。
我
影對焦㗎。
你可以睇下呀。
哦。
Yeah. What the fuck? I feel a little bit violated. He almost reached for my camera.